If you are VOD reviewing your own gameplay in Marvel Rivals, or trying to coach a teammate, friend, here's the hard truth. Most VOD reviews suck. They're either too overwhelming, too vague, or focused on the wrong things entirely. Today I will walk you through exactly how to lead an effective, high-value VOD review. Whether you're in Gold, or Grandmaster, or Eternity, using a clean structure built on these three core concepts. Suitable, concise, consistent. But let me start off with what people get wrong. The first mistake, and by far the most common mistake, listing every single mistake. It's such a trap that people fall into, and the result of all of this is you overwhelm yourself, or your friend, whoever you're doing this for, with a laundry list of flaws and no clear path forward. Instead of helping, you are creating paralysis. You do not need to fix 12 small things at once. You need to fix one or two high-impact issues that are repeated game after game. Those are the ones blocking your improvement. This also brings me on to mistake number 2, which is focusing on mechanics way too much. A lot of players obsess over mechanics, but mechanics usually aren't the root of the problem. They are the symptom. I've coached a lot of people. At this point in Marvel Rivals, I've coached over 50 people. Mechanics were never the reason somebody could not rank up. 9 times out of 10, if you are stuck in a rank, it is not because of your aim. If you ever think that it is your aim holding you back, next time you see yourself miss, ask yourself, was it because your aim is bad, or was it because your positioning gave you a bad angle? The reality is, good decisions and smart positioning make your mechanics look better. The third mistake I see all the time is only watching deaths or lost fights. Now, I will say, if you do not know what your problem is, you can watch deaths and lost fights just to figure out mistakes you're making. You can do that. With that being said, 9 times out of 10, if I ask a player, hey, what are you bad at? They have an answer for me. And if you have an answer to that question, if you can tell me what you are bad at, you do not need to just watch deaths or lost fights. When you only review deaths, you'll start thinking 2 things. 1, that dying is always bad when it's not. Sometimes good deaths exist. And sometimes when you lose a fight, when you die, whatever, it's just not your fault. Another issue that people have is they think because they won a fight that they played it well. That's not the case. Every player, including professional players, are making mistakes every single fight. In almost every single fight in Marvel Rivals, win or lose, every player in the game could have done something to get more value. It is very, very rare that somebody does absolutely everything correct. But now that we got those 3 misconceptions out of the way, let's talk about how to effectively VOD review. First, you will start off with a diagnosis. And this is what I mentioned earlier by you know what you are bad at. Don't be too vague. You need to choose a theme though. Something general but trackable. For example, if you tell me, my decision making is bad. Cool. Let's focus on one part of your decision making. Target priority, cooldown usage, ult usage, threat assessment. What part of your decision making is bad? Pick one of those. Another example would be positioning. Say your positioning's bad. What do you need to work on? Do you think you get good angles? Are you using cover effectively? Do you stand in a good range for your characters? Maybe you think your timing's bad. But what type of timing? Your engages? Your ults? Your ability usage synced with your teammates? And there's a few other categories. I would say tempo, mechanics. You're going to choose one theme, and you are going to watch 1 to 2 full games with that lens on. For example, let's say you are working on positioning, and you know that your cover usage is not that great. You get caught a lot, you can't walk behind walls. All you're going to do is you're going to skip through this VOD and look for every fight that happens, and you are just going to look at how often you are playing from cover. And this is going to help you spot mistakes you make. There are going to be people that go into the VODs and they do this for 2 games and they go, wow, I never use cover. Even this game where I got 50 kills, I stood behind cover a handful of times. The enemy team just didn't look at me. If you think your decision making is bad, let's say you're really bad at using cooldowns. Every single fight, you're going to track your ability usage. Did you blow your cooldowns early? Did you drop Loki lamps on yourself more than on your team? Were you aware of enemy threats? Were you aware of threats before you used your cooldown? But sometimes you want to hold a cooldown for a certain threat. I think you get the idea, but the point is, when you put on this lens, when you're only looking for this one thing, when you're only looking for your cooldown usage, when you're only looking for your ult usage, when you are only looking at your target priority, when you're only looking at angles that you go at, it is a lot easier to identify patterns. Once you finish the review, you don't say, oh, I messed up my timing. You can review a game and go, wow, 4 out of the 6 times I ulted, it was too early. Why am I ulting too early? You can watch a game and go, oh, my timing is really bad. I go in before my team 9 times out of 10. It gives you a clear, actionable focus going into practice. Your next ranked game is practice. You're going to go into it and work on these things. When you're watching these VODs, you'll go, I never have an off angle. I'm standing in main with my team non-stop. I need to off angle. And once you have that diagnosis, it's just time to practice. You just have one key goal to work on per match. You can write down 2 or 3 things that you notice from your VOD review, but only focus on 1 at a time per game. If your issue is never taking off angles, then queue up that rank game and only work on holding better angles. Win, loss, does not matter. Don't think about your cooldown usage, don't think about your ult usage, just autopilot all of that stuff. Think about holding better angles. This keeps your play intentional, and it stops you from overloading your brain. Repetition builds habits. Clarity builds consistency. And if you really do not know what your issue is, you have no idea what you are doing wrong at all, I want you to just draw 4 boxes. 1 box is going to be decision making. 1 box is going to be positioning. 1 box is going to be timing. And 1 box is going to be mechanics. You're going to watch an entire game, start to finish. You're going to put a tally mark in each box whenever you notice them. If you noticed you had a bad decision, you targeted the wrong person, used a bad cooldown, used a bad ult, put a line in decision making. If you notice your positioning is really bad, you're not using cover, you're not in a good range, you're not in an off angle from your team, you're not in an off angle, and you'd put a line in positioning. And you're going to go through the entire VOD, and you're going to put tally marks in these boxes. And by the end of it, one of these boxes will have more tally marks than the other. And that's what you focus on. You go into your next VOD review focused on your decisions. And you will remember which decisions stood out to you. You will remember, wow, my target priority that game that I reviewed was really bad. You will remember, wow, my cooldown usage in that game was really bad. Every single great player gets better by watching themselves. Not just for the hype plays, but for patterns. If you found this helpful, please be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month. If you would like coaching, there is a link down below. I will see you guys next time.